Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is 3:15 a.m. It just turned 3:15 a.m. on this rainy Saturday night going into Sunday. I was just listening to a little Carpenters, Rainy Days and Mondays. Bolting it out as I was singing it. The diva that I am. I'd kind of forgotten how sad that song was. My God, their music is really sad. I was talking to Alex about it. I think I talked about this on here. I was talking to Alex about it the other night because I was singing to him, what's that song? We've only just begun. And I said, you don't know what that song is? And he was like, no, I've never heard that song before. I was like, you don't know the Carpenters? I was trying to explain to him who Karen Carpenter was. And he had no clue. So anyway, I was giving him a little of the background history of the Carpenters and Karen Carpenter. But I used to love their music. And I was just like singing it right now. Every word I remembered how I don't know. And I was thinking about how my friend Scotty that passed away last summer, he and I used to go to the casino, and we would just, well, my ex would be with us, but we would just be like blasting the music. My ex would be like asleep in the passenger seat, and like Scotty and I would be like blasting the music, and we listened to, I would make up these CDs for us to like road trip it. We would listen to RuPaul and all of the RuPaul mega mixes, and of course the Whitney Houstons, everything I sing on my drama channel, you know, Stevie Nicks and Heart. Oh God, I love Heart, Anna Nancy Wilson of Heart. And we used to, I forgot that we used to sing the Carpenters, and we would just blast the song Rainy Days and Mondays. And I kind of forgot, like, because we would get real schmoozy about it, you know, we would be like, rainy days and Mondays always get me down. You know, just like how she sounds. But anyway, we used to have so much fun. This car in front of me has no clue what it's doing. It keeps on trying to turn left. But it's got its right turn signal on. Anyway, we used to have so much fun singing all of the diva ballads. I think I actually made a CD and I called it Divas or something. Oh, no. That was some road trip. I went somewhere, and my really good friend, who I'm actually going to talk to tomorrow. I tried to talk to him today, but we haven't talked in like a couple years. And his name came up because I was talking to another old friend of mine today. So I messaged him. I don't think his number's the same, so I messaged him on Instagram, and I was like, hey, look, I tried to call you, blah, 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 and he was out to dinner. So he was like, hey, can I call you tomorrow, and we can, like, catch up? And I was like, yeah. So anyway, his ex made me a CD one time that was called Country Divas, and it was, like, all of these great, like, the country, like, standards, you know? With like Tammy Wynette and Loretta Lynn and Dolly Parton and what's that one song that I love that's like all three of them? Shoot, what's that song? They put a whole album out, and the one song is called, why can't I remember what that song is called? Darn it, why can't I? It's not actually, it's Tanya Tucker, I think it's Tanya Tucker maybe. Dolly Parton, Tammy Wynette, Laura, I don't know who it is, but something about, I don't know, anyway. Golden something, silver this, and then there's another one about Honky Tonk Angels. Do you guys know that song? Oh my God, I love that song. Do you remember making CDs and mixtapes for people back in the day? That's a missed art form that we can't do anymore, you know? Like, playlists are just not the same as, like, mixtapes and CDs. I really miss all of that. That was so much fun back in the day, and you could, like, put a theme to it, you know? Actually, like, in my book that I wrote, mixtapes are, like, a big part of that book, and the cover was actually mixtapes, or cassette tapes. But anyway, hi, how are you? I'm good. I went to bed super early last night. Alex was just laying in bed, like, on TikTok. It was the most boring Saturday night in the entire world, and I was completely fine with that. We just were so relaxed and comfy. We didn't really do anything at all on Saturday. I made one video. I made a review video. Well, I put my vlog up, and then I did my review video of this drink at Starbucks. And that was basically, like, really all I did all day long. And, so he said he was tired and he was going to go to bed early. So I got into bed at like 9:30. I ate dinner. We both ate dinner. And, he wanted Chick-fil-A. And so, well, his friend Sarah was going to Chick-fil-A. So she was like, do you want anything? I'll drop it off on my way home. And so I was out, driving around listening to my audiobook. And so I asked him if he wanted anything. He said no. He was like, Sarah's bringing me Chick-fil-A. And so I got Burger King. I know, not healthy, but whatever. So I sat there and he was finishing up watching The Kardashians. And then he went upstairs and I was watching Welcome to Plathville on my iPad. I think I have 2 episodes left of the first season. I didn't realize that the seasons were so short. They're only 6 episodes. There's not a lot going on, I guess, in that family. But anyway, I'm kind of addicted to that show, and the whole family is just, I don't know what I think. It makes me kind of sad. The show makes me really kind of sad. But anyway, I'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, and then I went upstairs, and I was like, I'm going to lay down for an hour. And of course, I wake up at, 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up at like 3:21 now. So I woke up about 2:20, and I came downstairs, and I was like just doing some like gratitude stuff, like not necessarily that was assigned in the magic book, but I'm just like feeling so full of gratitude. It's like rained off and on all day today. And it's been like, actually it's 56 right now. It was like 45 or 48 earlier today, and it was cold, and the rain was whipping, and it was nasty outside. And I walked out tonight, and I was like, it's not, I took the dogs out when I got up, and I was like, it's really not as cold as it was earlier, so it's kind of like warmed up a little bit. And all next week it's supposed to be warmer, like 50s to 60s. I think there's a few days that might be in the 40s, but you hear the rain is hitting. So anyway, of course, I said I was going to lay down for just a little bit, and I ended up laying down for several hours, but I had a nice little nap. Nice little nap. I have water with me tonight in my Starbucks cup that I got when I did my haul. And then I also have my leftover coffee. I think this is quickly becoming my favorite cup that I bought when I did my haul, and it's so pretty. But anyway, so Alex was watching TikToks. Whenever I'm like driving around doing a vlog and it's raining outside, people always say that they like the sound of the rain. Don't you love the sound of the rain? I think it's just so nice and kind of meditative. But I got up and I was just doing some writing in my gratitude journal about all these things I'm grateful for, and I'm just loving practicing gratitude, like really, like actively practicing gratitude, not just saying I'm grateful for things, but like actually making like really lengthy gratitude lists and really thinking about it and practicing it and saying like thank you out loud, thank you for these things in my life, and like I'm really enjoying it. Like I can feel the results, honestly. Like I really can feel the results inside. I don't know, it's just like my attitude is, it just feels so much more positive. But anyway, so yeah, I was like running around today, and one of my really good friends, her sister was on the cover of this magazine that I saw. So, one of my really good friends from high school, and I hadn't talked to her. We live like 5 minutes apart, and I hadn't talked to her in like, well, we were supposed to go to the reunion together, and they canceled the reunion. So the last time I talked to her was in June. And so I texted her. We were texting back and forth. And then I was like parked. And so then I just called her and I was like, listen, I'm driving, so I'm gonna just call you so we can talk for a little while. We ended up talking. I was like drinking my coffee and we ended up talking for like an hour on the phone, catching up. It was such a great conversation. It was so nice. I love catching up with people that I haven't talked to in a long time. You know, like, she was like my best friend my last year in high school and probably my first couple years of college. She was actually who bonded me out, paid my bail the last time that I got a DUI. And she doesn't like party like that at all anymore. I think back about like how much I was telling Alex tonight, like how we used to drink so much together and stuff. And it's like my two closest friends that I used to drink the most with back in the day, they don't even like, one of my friends is like, I know people would find this hard to believe, but she's like super, super, super hyper religious. She's not on social media, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. Of course, I did it again. I was going on telling tidbits of somebody else's story that I don't need to be doing. It was just tidbits, but oh well. But anyway, I talked to my old friend tonight, and she and I caught up, and while I was talking to her, we were talking about this other friend of mine, and like my like longest probably like gay guy friend that I've had. I've told the story on here before that he and I went on a date and then we decided it would just be better if we were friends. He was at my wedding and stuff. But anyway, she's friends with him too, and so like she had seen him. He doesn't live here, and so she had seen him, and so she was like talking about him and kind of like catching me up on what was going on. And I was like, I need to call him and like touch base. So I was kind of having it was kind of like nice today. It was like catching up about, you know, talking about all the, she was telling me about people that she runs into, and I was telling her about people that I run into. You know, it's hard when you live in Indianapolis not to run into people that you like grew up with, because they're literally like all around, you know. And man, it is like a lot of rain really quick. So we were talking about all of that, and then that was kind of my day. I had a good day though. What else did I do? Talked to Tanya for a little bit. Talked to my sponsor for a little bit. I just basically spent the day on the phone. Do you ever just feel like that you do that? Some days I don't want to talk on the phone at all, and other days like I'm like really enjoy talking on the phone. Okay, so here are my feelings about Welcome to Plathville. Do you guys even know this show enough to care? Okay, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's about this family called the Plaths, okay? Which they're like supposedly like hyper religious, but they never talk about going to church hardly, okay? Like except for their oldest daughter, Hosanna, is like in a church band or something. I don't really understand it, but they like never go to church on the show. They never talk about going to church. They never show going to the church. They never talk about being active in a church, but they're apparently real churchly people. Okay, that's the first thing I think is interesting. The second thing is they have this, first of all, for being people that aren't worldly, they all drive Infinities, okay, which I think is interesting. The third thing I want to say is that these kids apparently don't know who LeBron James is or Justin Bieber, but the one kid, go back and watch this. This is episode 3 called It's when the parents go out of town for their anniversary, and Micah is on top of a tire, like a car tire, and he goes, look, I'm doing the moonwalk. He goes, I can moonwalk. And I'm like, okay, so you guys don't know who any of these pop culture figures are. You've never seen a TV. You don't know who any of these musicians are, but you know what moonwalking is. I ain't buying it, okay? I'm just not. I think the whole thing is staged, which is fine, because I still think the family's real sweet. There's actually, like, I like everybody on the show for a different reason. Well, kind of. Like, the mom and dad kind of wear me out, but I understand why they're doing what they're doing. They really, like, their whole thing is this, is like, they want to keep the kids, okay, so the kids, like, they're homeschooled, they, like, just are on this 55-acre farm, which is absolutely beautiful. This farm is gorgeous. It's in South Georgia, and so the kids, like, basically, like, are told, like, it's very, like, kind of, I've heard people compare it to the Duggars, but I've never watched that show, so I can't compare it to that show. But they're, like, told what to wear and all this kind of stuff, which is interesting because, like, all the girls wear makeup and, like, eyeshadow, mascara, nail polish, like, this one girl, the one daughter, why can't I think of what her name is? Louise, maybe? Well, the one daughter is 16 and her name is Mariah. And she's like, they painted her to be like the wild child. And she's like, wants her independence, but she's really not a wild child. Like, you know, I've watched these shows with like the Amish families and stuff where it's like, what's that called? If you guys want to see a great documentary, this is years old now, but there was a documentary, it was called, I think it was called The Devil's Playground, and it was about, I can never pronounce this thing, but it's that, do you know that, like, where the Amish kids can leave between, like, a certain age, like 18 and 21, and then they can come back if they want to, they can leave during that time, and some of them go and, like, do all kinds of craziness. I'm not even gonna speculate on what they do, but they show it in the show, if you want to see, in the documentary. It's a great documentary. And some of them do come back. I mean, some of them go and they're doing hard drugs and all this kind of stuff, and then some of them come back to the farm and decide to dedicate their life to that, you know? This Mariah girl really isn't that wild, you know? Other than dressing like every 16-year-old that's her age with, like, halter tops and jeans that have holes in them, she's really not wild whatsoever. And in fact, they're very, very innocent. She and her brother Micah go bowling this one point, and they're like, they're talking about, like, movies with their friends who are very innocent-minded, too, it seems like. And she's like, well, you guys should come to the farm and we could all go, you know, swimming in the pool and then out to... It's just, they're very sweet kids. And, okay, so part of what the parents' intention is, like, the dad said that they want to prolong their childhood as long as they possibly can. And I'm like, that's great. Like, I totally agree with that, right? I think... the problem is they don't really explain that to the kids. They don't really talk to the kids about that. And the kids are all, like, really pretty good kids. And then there's, okay, so there's Mariah, who's 16. And then there's her brother, Micah, who is 18, who has just become a model. But I'm not to that episode yet. I just know that because Tanya told me. And then there's their older sister, Hosanna, who is, like, gotten married and moved away to Ohio. All these people, like, in the Reddit thread were, like, speculating why she's not in the show. She's not in the show because she lives in Ohio. How could she be in the show? Like, she's in, like, one episode at the beginning of it, and they, like, flashed her at other times, but that's why she's not on the show. And then there's Isaac, who's 13, and then there's 3 little girls. And then there's, the oldest brother is Ethan, and he's married to Olivia, who I would just like to know what he does. They have, like, such a beautiful home. Like, I mean, it's not the biggest home in the world, but it's, like, a really beautiful home. Like, I mean, they have a really, really nice house, and it's decorated adorable. And the thing is like, Olivia is painted as, so Olivia was homeschooled too, and she comes from, like, she references what it is at one point. It's some kind of, like, evangelical church, but she references at one point what it was, but that her family changed over time. And, like, she goes head to head with, like, her mother-in-law. Like, they get into it. a lot. And because she's like wanting to introduce these kids to all kinds of new things, and she introduces like her husband to like having a Coke for the first time and all these different foods and alcohol and all this kind of stuff. It's very sweet. It's very innocent. I mean, to be honest with you, to me watching it, it's like I was telling Tanya, like, we've become so jaded as a society, I think, on like gimme, 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 and we need this and we need that, and we've got to have the best of this and we've got to have that person, this car, and you know, all this kind of stuff. And it kind of like simplifies it. There's like this episode where the parents go out of town. The kids get in trouble for this. Well, they don't really get in trouble for it, but the parents are not happy because they don't want Ethan and Olivia over when they're out of town. They don't want them around their brothers and sisters unsupervised because they feel like this Olivia girl is a bad influence on the brothers and sisters because she's worldly or whatever, and how she dresses and all this kind of, what kind of toothpaste she uses. They said something about that, but anyway. You know what's interesting is it really reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember, but earlier this year, it was right after I read Gilia Owens, Where the Crawdads Sing, I read that Tara Westerfield's, I think that's her name, Educated. It reminds me a lot of that book, minus all of the hardcore abusive stuff, because they appear to be a very loving family. But the brother, okay, so the oldest brother and his wife come over. Now they're like 22, 23, all right? And I'm assuming, or maybe 21, hell, I don't know, but they're drinking age. So they come over to spend time with their younger siblings, and they're like racing in the yard, this like go-kart and this old truck, and they're having like root beer floats because they've never had any of them had a root beer float. And at the one point, like when they're doing like the diary room and the, you know, with the producers are asking them, you know, like, how was it or whatever, and she's like, well, I'm sure Kim and Barry are going to be upset with us. That's the mom and dad. And he was like, yeah, but it was worth it. And she was like, but it was worth it because we had a lot of fun. And he was like, we had a lot of fun. Like, he loved it, right? For his age, like, hanging out with his siblings. How many 22 or 23-year-olds can you say that about? You know what I mean? Like, that just love being with their siblings, having root beer floats. Like, to me, I love that. Like, I love that we kind of, like, it's, like, back to the family. But it's, like, this is what the mom doesn't get because she's so afraid. She says a lot that she came from, that her mother was an alcoholic. She talks a lot about that on the show. And I get it, you know, having had an alcoholic as a mother, that like control is very necessary in your life. But like if she could give up some of that control and just enjoy the family as they are, because the mother does come across as very bitter. And, she's missing out because she has such great kids. The kids are so great. Like, they're just really neat kids. This one daughter, she's very, like, religious, strong faith. And, well, they're supposedly all musicians. I talked about that the other day, right? Well, the Mariah girl writes her own music. She's actually pretty good. The rest of the family, I don't know what I think. They can all play instruments and stuff, but the reason I said they're not the greatest singers in the world the other day is because I like listen to some of their music. But I have to tell you, I did find what that song was. Oh shoot, I think it's called Glory in His Name. Darn it. I happened to just turn on this episode. I was like trying to find the episode I was watching, and right when I turned it on, it was at that scene. Do you guys know what I'm talking about, where I was saying that I was trying to find out what the gospel song was the other day that they were singing in the episode? But I found it. So anyway, and it's this gospel song that I really, really like, and I forgot that I had liked it. Or I forgot that it was a song that I like. So I gotta find a good version of it. But anyway, I was gonna download some of their music, and I like started playing some of their songs, and I was like, I don't wanna listen to this. Like, I mean, it wasn't the best I'd ever heard. And I kind of wonder if that's what it is it's like a platform for their music, like the show, because Micah, Olivia, or Ethan, Olivia, Micah, and Mariah are all in a band together. And they say, and this Olivia girl keeps on pushing. She's like, we need Isaac for drums. We need Isaac for drums, because Isaac is a 13-year-old drum master, I guess. I don't know. She's like, we need Isaac for drums. But then it's so weird because they're like, what name? This is the issue. Is this Olivia girl needs to control the situation just as much as this Kim mom does, right? So you got two control people trying to control the situation. It's just not going to be pretty. But anyway, I got 2 episodes left, and then the second season just came out. It's really good though. I'm real interested in it. And then I'm also going to watch, because Sarah told me to watch Killer Carnies. That's going to be the next show that I'm going to watch, I think. Tanya watched the first episode. She said she had nightmares so bad she couldn't even sleep. I said, oh, Tanya, Jean, it can't be that scary. She said it was horrible. She said, have you seen it? I said, no. She goes, oh my God, it's terrifying. I'm going to pull in here and tell y'all what this gospel song is called. I'll fly away. Do, do. That's not what it is, but I love that song, don't you? Do, 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 do. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, so glory, I'll fly away. Oh, you guys want to see something sweet? Here is my husband in bed. You can't really see, looking at TikToks. And Boo Radley sleeping on his pillow, and Alex has that blue light on. Glory to his name is what it is called. Oh my Lord. I'll fly away, oh Lordy, I'll fly away. Do, 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 do. Oh, I was going to look at the other show. I was like in my head for a second. I forgot I was vlogging. I'm sorry. I was going to look at the other show. Somebody told me I need to watch Euphoria. Do I need to watch Euphoria? And then Sarah told me that she was watching Leaving Polygamy. Okay, I started watching that show. I need Valerie's lip balm that she gave me in here. Where is it? I have this new hand sanitizer. It's vanilla. I finally went to Costco and bought a leave, so I keep this bottle in my car for my migraines. And I know people are like, for a while I used Motrin and I thought it was helping, but I guess it wasn't. This is the only thing that helps. And I know people are like, well, leave won't help with your migraines, but it really does. But I buy the huge bottles of Aleve, and then I put them in these smaller bottles so I can carry it with me. Where did I put Valerie's lip balm? Michael Myers had. You know what? I think I pitched it over me in a video, and I don't think I put it back in here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So I started watching that show, Leaving Polygamy. I kind of feel like running into the Speedway right here and getting a cup of coffee, but I think I'm not going to. I started watching that show, Leaving Polygamy, like a while ago. Ballerini, I love this lip gloss, or this lip balm so much. It's so smooth. I wonder if they have different flavors too. But anyway, I can't remember how many episodes I watched. I watched like 2 episodes or something. At that point, they had like 3 seasons. I don't know how many seasons they have now. But that was hard for me to watch. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And it was this like business or group or something, organization that these 2 girls had founded. Or I don't know, maybe it was just like they just did this because they had left like the polygamous like lifestyle, and so they would help other people out too. And the episodes that I started watching on, they were helping this girl like get everything out of her, like you literally had to like leave and not ever come back. And so she was like packing all of her stuff, I can remember, and she was scared like her mom was gonna come home, and it was like maybe it was their sisters that were helping them. But it was really an interesting show. I really liked watching it. Now, I must tell you what I have done the last 3 nights, okay? While I have eaten breakfast way too late at night after I've listened to my audiobook, is that there is the Sandra Bernhard collection on YouTube. Collection 1, Collection 2, and Collection 3 of every interview she ever did with David Letterman. She was on David Letterman like 40 times, you guys. 40 or 50 times. I've watched every interview that Sandra Bernhard did on David Letterman in like the last 3 days. When I was in high school, well, I call her Sandra Bernhard. So anyway, actually, it's interesting because like the first episode she was ever on, it was like in 1983. I didn't really realize, even though I watch Letterman a lot, like what a mainstay of his show she was. Like, she was like a regular guest. She'd be on there like 5-6 times a year. And also, like, when she started being on there, he wasn't really that famous, like that popular. At that point, like, the show was just really not that popular. And around 86, 87, when she started getting popular, his show started getting popular. And you can tell, like, the set changes, and she references this one thing. She's like, Mr. Being in Newsweek, aren't you famous now, blah, blah, whatever. If you don't know who Sandra Bernhard is, she's a comedian, and singer, actress. She played Nancy on Roseanne, but I don't love her for Nancy. Like, I loved watching her character Nancy on Roseanne, but like, if she had never been on Roseanne, that wouldn't have been what it was for me. I loved her one-woman stand-up comedy show that was called Without You, I'm Nothing, which she sings a lot into. I just loved her as a public figure personality. I think she's super, super interesting. I just think she's cool, you know? And, I always thought she just was, like, the coolest ever. And I mean, literally, if I had, like, one person in high school that I looked up to, it was her. Like, I had, like, cutouts of her in my locker. I was obsessed with her. I listened to her tape, like, over and over and over again. Like, I knew every line from her stand-up show by heart. I love her. I absolutely love Sandy Bernhard. And, I think what it is, like, when I was going back and I was watching the interviews, I was like, what is it that was always so engaging to you about her, so attractive? And I think it's the fact that, like, she even says this at one point, something about, like, I mean, she's joking when she says that, but she's talking about, like, representing those out there that are just themselves. Like, I think that was what's so attractive to me about her, was she was just so completely herself. You never really knew, like, she didn't talk about her sexuality. I mean, we know now that she's been, if you know, she's been with the same partner for 20 years, and she had a daughter and stuff, but, like, nobody knew back then. I actually think she identifies as bisexual, I'm not sure. But, like, her sexuality was always very fluid. You never really knew. And you didn't really care. You just thought it was kind of hot, you know? You just thought I thought she was hot, you know? Even though it wasn't like I wanted to sleep with her, because she was a woman and I was, you know, a gay man. Even when I was in high school, I knew I didn't want to. But, like, there was something just hot about her, you know? It was like Catherine Trammell from Basic Instinct. I was always attracted to those types of women, you know, and I think there was something that, I don't think it was so much that, like I wanted to be with them. I think it was that I wanted to emulate that, honestly, you know. But I loved her. There was a wildness, there was a kookiness about her. She didn't care. She was weird, and she knew it, and she'd say it. She'd say, I'm a weirdo, you know, and she loved it. And she, to me, very much imbibed kind of this Janis Joplin, be whoever you are, wear a feather in your hair if you want to, because that's how happy you are. Just be whoever you want to be at the moment, you know? And she really, I think, allowed me, and I think also because not a lot of people knew who she was when I was in high school in the middle of Indiana, you know? I mean, she was kind of my Lady Gaga, and like, as crazy as this sounds, I've never met her. I'll probably never meet her. I would die to meet her, you know? Like, She's actually one person that, like, I would love to just sit down and talk to. She probably more, honest to God, Sandra Bernhardt, probably more than any other human being on the face of earth, really indirectly encouraged me to be myself, I think. And so anyway, I was watching all these interviews back, and many of them I had never seen before. You know, because when I was in high school and I found her, I didn't really find her until like 87 and 88. And that was when she started, you know, being friends with Madonna and stuff. And I think that's how I heard about her. And she was in some article. I think maybe I read this article, because a lot of these articles, I know I have them at home. Like, I still have them to this day. Is that not crazy? These, like, fashion things. She was in Mademoiselle, and she was in some other things. But, you know, when I found her, it's not like we had the internet. It's not like we had YouTube where we could go back and watch these interviews. I didn't have them recorded, you know. Now, I did have that interview recorded with when she was on David Letterman. Obviously, they're all David Letterman ones, but the one where she was on there, she's singing the "Don't Touch Me, We've Made This Mistake Before." That's like my favorite interview of hers of all 50 of them. Is the where she's singing Taylor Dane and she comes out in the gray jacket and she's on, and that's when her stand-up show is on. I love that. That's my favorite interview of all of hers. But anyway, so I went back and I watched all of them, and it inspired me a lot. So creative, constantly thinking, constantly doing, constantly putting something new out there. I looked up, I was like, are we like the same age or whatever? And she's like 12 or 7, I think maybe she's like 17 years older than me. There's quite an age difference. And I was kind of surprised because, like, when I think about, like, when I was in high school watching her, I thought of her, like, at that time, yeah, it would have been like 17 years, I think, because 17 and 18, 17, 20, 28, 30. Yeah, because I think she was like 34 or 35 when I would have been like 17 watching that show. Here, I'll tell you when. I think I looked and she was born like in 54, which would have been like 18 years or something before me, but oh, my lip things are falling all over the place. Where am I at on time? 55, so she's 65. We're both born in June. So she's like 17 years older than me. I love her so much. Should we read some comments? Okay, can I just tell you guys that I was thinking that last year at this time, I got tickets for Alex and Sarah and I to go see A Christmas Carol at IRT, Indianapolis Repertory Theater. And so I was like, just happened to look online because I was like, how are they doing it this year, you know? Like, are they still doing it and whatever? So, they're not doing A Christmas Carol. I read the frequently asked questions, and one of the reasons why they're not doing A Christmas Carol, it has something to do with like unions or something. I didn't really understand it. Like the Actors Guild or something like that, that they can only, they're doing smaller shows, so they can't do larger shows to try to keep the theater going. But what they're doing is they're doing virtual shows. So you can buy $30 a ticket or $150 a season. I think I'm actually gonna buy a season. And I thought it would be really fun for like Alex and I, you know, to like, I don't know, if like his mom wanted to come over for one of them or Sarah wanted to come over for one of them, just the three of us or something, you know? And like we could like watch one or watch another when they're on, right? Because you like pick like a show for like a certain day. So like you have to watch it that day. like you're actually going to the show. So I thought we could put it on like our big, like, you know, screen that Alex got with the projector and stuff. And in December, their Christmas show, they're not doing a Christmas Carol this year. Their Christmas show is called, it's not It's a Wonderful Life, it's called The Wonderful Life. And it's like a spin-off, kind of like a take on It's a Wonderful Life. But then their February, that goes through January, and then their February show is, they don't have the last 4 shows announced yet for the rest of this season. But the next show is, what do you call it? Is Tuesdays with Morrie, which I loved that book by Mitch Albom. So I was like, that would be a really great show to watch too. So I think I'm gonna buy a season to not just because I think it would be fun, but also to contribute to the arts during the time of COVID, I think, you know, to help the actors out and keep the theater alive. The Indianapolis Repertory Theater has been something that has been going for years and years and years. So if you're able and you want to help somebody out, something artistic, there you go, there's an opportunity. There might be, you know, theater in your own town that you could look into as well. And I also look into Dance Kaleidoscope because Alex and I used to go to a lot of the Dance Kaleidoscope shows. Well, they have actually a free show on their website, and it's called Life in the Time of COVID. You can just watch it anytime you want from like November something to something. It's like on their website, Dance Kaleidoscope. It's with a K. And so anyway, this is something you want to think about. They have a donation button that you can donate if you want to. Just as a little nice gesture if you want to do something like that. So, you know, just a little extra, something to think about. Or if you don't, you can just, there's something to watch. But I thought it was interesting. There's like some ways to like contribute to the arts, you know. It's going to stop here in literally like 5 seconds. So I'm going to wait until it stops and then. Did you miss me? Did you miss me so much? Okay. Let's read some comments. I haven't read comments on here in a long time. Isn't it funny when you think about the people that inspired you or were role models to you, like, you know, during a period of your life? And I think about that with like Sandra Bernhardt. Like I know people in my life, like my mom never really understood it, you know, like she would say like, why her, you know, why not her? You know, I don't think of myself as a comedian. I'd like to think of myself as a comedian, like on my drama channel, but I don't think of myself as a comedian. But like, I love like the influences of life of like Carol Burnett and Sandra Bernhardt and Mary Tyler Moore and the people that just comic genius, you know. Vicki Lawrence. God, I loved Mama's Family. I actually didn't watch Mama's Family until late in life with my ex. I started watching it. He got me hooked on it because he loved, we watched, well, I always watched Designing Women with my mom, but we watched Golden Girls. I've seen so many episodes. I think I've seen probably every episode of Golden Girls. I don't love Golden Girls, I have to be honest. I'm not the gay guy that loves Golden Girls. It's okay. It's whatever. I mean, I know enough about it, but we would watch that in Mama's Family. I actually liked Mama's Family a lot better than Golden Girls. Okay, let's look at the comments. Oh, it's poked my eye. You'll poke your eye out. Okay. Kimberly said cereal with half and half or heavy cream. Okay, Kimberly said cereal with half and half or heavy cream is yum. Might be a 70 Midwestern fat kid thing, but I stan LOL. Oh, Leah said, love your vlogs and you. Hope you have a wonderful day. You too, Leah. Thank you. Sabrina said, I have seen the Cloud Comforter. I'm going to try it. And yes, please come out with your gift guide early so I can buy some. Oh, okay. We'll do that. I was thinking about like whether or not I was going to do my gift guide like early or not. The Buffy, the Cloud Comforter. Oh my God, you guys. And the pillows. The pillows are like some of the greatest pillows I've ever had in my entire life. I highly, 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 highly recommend those. Don't you think I should get sponsorships for all these things? Okay, so there you go, Sabrina. Oh, Karen! Hey, Karen! Blue hearts! Karen is part of the book club. I love Karen so much. Lauren said, oh, this is about the basements, people turning their basements into blockbusters. The true test will be if the basement recreations smell like a Blockbuster store. I thought I saw somebody over there. did, like a Blockbuster store did. There is nothing better than that smell or the smell of a Sears tire shop. LOL. Do you know what I used to love is going to Sears when I was a little kid with my mom? Well, first of all, the Sears Wish book. Do you guys remember that at Christmas time? That you could go through and you'd circle everything you wanted for Christmas. My mom would always say, my Lord, somebody must have been awfully good to ask for all these things from Santa. I was like, went crazy with that red Sharpie marker. But anyway, but we would go, and I can remember watching like the dishwasher that had like the open part in front. I mean, this today we think of this like this would be nothing today, but like when I was a little kid, my mom, like I was obsessed with walking by the dishwasher that you could sit there and watch it wash the dishes. I should have known I'd be obsessed with cleaning later. I love to clean. And then the washer and dryer that you could see it like washing and drying the clothes because it had the clear front to it. You know, is that not so funny? Tiandra said, anyone else click on this and the volume is way too loud, LMAO. Love you, Peter. And the fact that Alex and Boo slept through that incident is hilarious. I agree. Boo sleeps through everything. Adam said, oh my God, I remember the Dumb. It was great. You have me now binging Schitt's Creek. I would love to recommend Queen's Gambit. I think you would enjoy it. Aw, thank you. I will try Schitt's Creek. Or I'll try Queen's Gambit. Lauren said that's precisely why you should do the podcast with Tanya. It's no good when all the hosts have the same view. You need the opposition. I agree with that, but it's like, I don't know that I have the time to start one more thing. Plus, Mel and I really want to do the true crime podcast. I guess I could always have 2 times. If I could actually keep a schedule going, then I could, you know, get all it done. Gina said, Peter, I always tell my husband that you and me are soulmates. We have so much in common. It's very funny. But now I know we are for sure. My favorite thing in the whole world are those Tostino square pizzas that used to be round. And nobody likes them but me. I love them. I know everybody's always like, well, Tanya likes them too. Everybody's always like they taste like cardboard. I think they're so good. And now I found you love them too. Best crust. They are the best crust ever. The crust kind of tastes like cardboard, but I kind of like that. Kathy said, I love half and half of my cereal. Patty said, Peter, if you get a chance, check out Harlots on Hulu. Carissa said, anti-main pants, LOL. Did you know what I mean by that, though? I love that movie so much. It's one of my favorite movies. Everybody, Tammy, Amy, Carissa, leaving blue hearts. Megan said, tomorrow is my birthday, Peter the 15th. Woo! Happy birthday, Megan. You make my life so true. Happy birthday. Shannon said that she loved Rub Band Society too. I'm done getting hooked. She said, I was watching a few seasons and things get canceled. I'm so over it too. Sarah said, would you consider buying a new house in Indianapolis? No, we have no desire to buy a new house in Indianapolis. First of all, where we're at is like perfect location because we're like the equal distance to downtown as we are to the north side where like Alex's brother and mom live, as we are to my cousin. My cousin lives like 2 minutes from Alex's family, as we are like close, the same proximity the other direction to like my dad and my stepmom. We're like right in the same neighborhood as all of our friends. Sarah, Melissa, and Jason live like within 5 minutes, 3 minutes of us. Tanya lives 10 minutes away. I mean, we're like in a perfect location. I love our neighborhood. He loves our neighborhood. We have a pool. We have tennis courts. It's nice. It's seemingly safe, you know? And so, no, but we would like to have the condo of our dreams. Like, you know what I mean? Because if we fixed a lot of stuff up, then we would have a lot more storage. And we could have another bedroom and things like that. So, another Sarah said, is this another Sarah? Same Sarah. Oh, that Sarah said, that's why I would never have an HOA. Sarah says, so happy to see you, Peter. Just celebrated my 1 month anniversary with my boyfriend, the first season of American Horror Story, and it's good. Woo! Congratulations. Everybody wants the Tanya podcast. Adriana said she wanted it too. Hey, Adriana from Brazil. Mary said, love you, Peter. Watch all seasons of Game of Thrones. It's worth it. Stay safe. Thank you. I don't know that I can get into Game of Thrones, you guys. Kimberly's daughter likes those snack bags of cereal. Oh, Apple Jacks. That's the other ones. Sean! Peter, you always keep me... Oh, I love you, Sean. Joanna said, hello, hello, hello. Seeing as someone disliked this within 1 minute of you posting it, I thought I'd like it. Hope you're having a great day, Peter. Love from the UK. Oh, also like to say thank you for the short, simple outros. The really long ones used to give me anxiety. I used to have to turn off when you inserted them. What is this? And then then Rose said, seeing as you like this video, I thought I'd like yours. I mean, here's the thing. I have a few haters out there that like to watch an hour to an hour and a half of the person that they dislike the most talk in a car, because apparently that's how they like to spend their time. And they like to let me know by disliking my video within the first minute, because I don't know, they think they're really doing something with that. It cracks me up, honestly. How about it? Anyway. Rose said, it's 2:18 in Sydney. I'm on my lunch break wondering if Peter might put this vlog up on my break. Here it is. And then Alexa gave her a blue heart. Oh my God. Melissa said, I got my chestnut praline latte, impossible breakfast sandwich, and blasted my Christmas music this morning when I picked up my groceries. Merry early Christmas from Bellingham, Washington! Oh my God, I have a really good friend of mine that lives in Bellingham, Washington, one of my best friends from high school. She's a naturopathic physician in Bellingham, Washington, which means she's a hippie. Emily said, you never know when it's the last time. I never thought of it like that, but that's so powerful. Actually, wow. Thank you, Peter. Tiandra said, thank you for this video. I'm having a really hard morning, and this is making me feel... Aww. Tiandra, I'm sorry, sweetie. Tiandra's followed this channel and a lot of my channels for a very, very long time. And I think she's an OG Wolfpacker, and I love her so much. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you're having a better day today. You know, thank you for all the comments, you guys. Just me. This and my old man in the car putting on lip gloss. I can't remember what movie it was. Once again, dropping a name that I don't need to drop in here. My friends are probably like, Peter, I really don't care. But anyway, I was kind of like referencing this movie and talking about it. But I don't remember what movie it was, but I remember that there was like a line at the beginning of this movie where this idea of, like, right before something happens, you don't know that it's going to happen. Like, and your life is going to change forever, you know? I remember you know, when my first boyfriend and I broke up, I just was kind of very much in the sadness of it all. I was very much like, what happens now? We had a very bizarre breakup. I mean, he stayed there for like a month afterwards and then moved out because he didn't have the money to move out. It wasn't a toxic breakup. I mean, we parted civilly, but it just was like, I was young and I just emotionally didn't know how to handle something like that. But with my ex, my last ex, I can remember literally like, I can see the conversation that happened when we broke up. And I had just come in from work, and he was on the couch, and I'm not going to get into the rest of it, but I can remember sitting there, and like as soon, like the whole conversation lasted like 2 minutes, and it wasn't yelling, it wasn't screaming, it was very calm, but I can remember that like literally, like I had no idea when I woke up that morning that was going to be the last day that we were like that. You know, I think that like one of the hardest things about my ex was for quite some time, it didn't feel romantically intimate like how it is with my husband and I mean, you know, that we were really good friends. Like, that's how it felt, right? So I didn't know that morning that I woke up that I was going to lose one of the greatest friends I'd ever had, if that makes sense. And you know, like in that 2 to 3 minutes that conversation, it happened, like I can just remember, like after that 2 to 3 minutes that we talked, like it wasn't like, it just was like, it just happened. I can remember thinking to myself, everything that I knew before I walked into this apartment 5 minutes ago has changed. Like, it's completely different now. I don't know him anymore. He's not part of my life anymore. Like, I was just very aware of that very quickly. And I think also probably because he like walked into the bedroom, grabbed some things. Like, I mean, he was literally out of the house within like 10 minutes, packed a bag and was like gone. And I can remember saying to Tanya that night that like, he's not part of my life anymore. Like, it felt so bizarre. It was like 1 second, somebody is like in every aspect of my life. And the next second, they're like not any part of my life either. You know, one of the things that's really hard, you know, I mean, like, it's not just about exes, and it can be about friends as well, you know, like, one of the hardest things for me with my mom is, I think this is why it took me such a long time to kind of grieve, is I had the last conversation with her, you know, that a lot of people don't get to have, like, where I got to ask her a lot of things. But after my mom and I had that conversation, like, it wasn't terms of endearment. Like, she had that conversation and then she passed away. We had that conversation and then she was in a coma. I don't remember the last time I talked to my mom. Like, I don't remember that last conversation. I don't remember what I said to her. I remember before she was in a coma for good that her friend came to visit, who was my mom's sorority sister, and like we used to like she got divorced the same time that my mom did. And so her daughter and her are the ones that we went to Beaver Island with, and we did got the Elvis tapes and all that, her daughter and stuff. She was like my mom's best friend when I was growing up. And she lived in Cincinnati, and she came to visit because things were not good. Like, long before my mom went into a coma, they didn't think that she was going to make it, but she wasn't very kind of like coherent. She was in and out. And one of the hardest things ever was when my mom, like, watching them put the tubes and stuff in her when she was aware of it. Like, that was hard. Like, she was very scared. You know, and when you're in a situation like that, especially like, even though I grew up with a dad as a doctor, to watch that where you're just at the mercy of physicians and a hospital and nurses is terrifying. Even if you trust that process, you know, it's so scary. But I can remember I was like visiting with my mom, and I was on one side of the bed and my mom's friend was on the other side of the bed. And my mom woke up, you know, and she'd have the stuff in her mouth, so she could hardly talk. It was, you guys, I just keep on saying people's names. Anyway, I think it must be a sign of how comfortable I am, because I feel like I'm literally just talking to a friend. But, you know, she had the, like the tube in her mouth or whatever, so she talked like this. And I remember she looked over at me, and then she looked over at her friend, and she looked at me like very confused. Like she said, like if her friend's name was Judy Smith, she was like, Judy? And I looked and I said, yeah, Mom. I said, Judy's here to see you. And she like looked at her friend, and then she looked back at me, and I'll never forget, like, just tears rolled down her eyes, and she started crying, and she started trying to move. Like, I think she got it, like, in that moment, like, if Judy's here, like, things are bad. Like, I think she got it, like, she figured it out, because she wasn't that aware at that point. But that was really, really hard. That whole day was so hard for me, because well, I've talked about it on here before. It doesn't matter. My mom's friend really minimized their friendship, and I was really not happy about it. It really, I mean, she was like my mom's diehard friend for like 20 years. And then one of the nurses asked how they knew each other, and she said we were divorced mothers together. And I was like, what? I remember telling Susie that, and Susie was like, well, it is whatever, because they were all friends. But that's a whole other story. I can't even, like, that anyway. It doesn't matter. It was nice that she came, I guess, you know. But anyway, you know, I think about that whole process when my mom was sick, and like she I don't think about it very often anymore. I like really don't. Like, unless I'm vlogging or somebody asks me a question, like, was it hard? Like, I don't really think about it, you know? But like, I was just so numb through that whole process. Like, you know, like, I had gone through this breakup in December, and I had massively lost weight too. I don't talk about that. That's a big thing I don't talk about. Like, from December to like February, I had lost like 60 or 80 pounds. I was working out like every day. Not healthy. I was eating those like 2 lean cuisines. I mean, I looked healthy, but I wasn't doing it in a healthy way. But I lost like massive weight, had all this confidence, had resigned from my job, and like everything in my life looked completely different. And then my mom got sick. And I just was like, is this for real? Like, I was so numb through that whole thing. It's still so surreal to me now, you know? I really feel like I was in this huge transition period until I met Alex. And then, you know, like, Alex was wild and crazy, and let's go out, and let's have fun, and let's party, and let's take off on a Thursday and go to Chicago or drive to Louisville, and, you know, this and that, la, la, la. And I think I really needed that at that time. But like, it really distracted my mind, you know, when I met him. And it was good for me. And we had so much fun and stuff, you know? But it's interesting now when I look at, like, how Alex and I have really changed over the years. You know, that now, like, on a Saturday night, my husband's in bed at 9:30 watching, I mean, there's not a whole lot to do in Indianapolis, but you know what I mean? Like, watching TikTok stuff and you know, he'll like do something social one night, and then I'll be like, oh, aren't you gonna do anything like the rest of the week? And he's like, no, like once is good. I mean, like, you know, we've grown up together, and it's been really nice, you know, like that we nest together and we have a home together now, and we share families together. You know, it's like, I feel like I have with Alex everything that I've always wanted. You know, I found that home and that partner that I always wanted, and it feels very comfortable and it feels very safe. And for much of my life, I felt like I was like in this transition kind of period, you know, where I was back and forth and I didn't know what was going on. But I can remember that when my mom was sick, though, like, it's so weird that I kind of just go to this place in my mind where I'm just kind of like, you know, like I don't really like think much about anything, because I was really numb through all of that. And like I can remember going into the hospital like every day, and you know, if I didn't go in there every day, my aunt she was like, you need to be there, and blah blah blah, and I would just sit and sit and sit. And, you know, people would come in and visit. My mom's friends from church, or ladies from the church that would bring her things. My mom was a member of 2 churches when she passed away. So both churches would bring, like, blankets and stuff. They were very nice. And, you know, women in recovery would come, and they would read to her. And, I mean, my mom was in a coma the whole time. So she just, you know, and she was on dialysis, and, you know, my aunt was there, like, all the time, and my mom had, like, 4 or 5 other friends that were there all the time, and it just was really, really hard. It was really, really hard, and I would find myself, like, sitting there for, like, a half an hour, and then, like, getting up and, like, walking around and, like, coming back, and my aunt was so funny because she would, like, she would, like, tell the nurses, like, that what they were doing wrong. Like, my aunt was somebody that, like, ran things very efficiently, controlled things. I mean, she was like president of junior league. She was like, I mean, she knew how to do things, and she would go out there and she would say, I mean, she was like, they would have plants and stuff like on there, and she would say, I don't know whose responsibility it is, but for the amount of money that this hospital is getting paid, somebody needs to be deadheading those plants. And if you're not going to do it, then I'll do it, I guess. And my aunt would sit out there and she would deadhead. She would bring in like a water spritzer, and she would take care of all the plants on the unit. I mean, and she would go around there and tell them that they were late. I mean, she was very much Shirley MacLaine in terms of endearment, and with my mom. And I just was out, like checked out completely. I remember one night I was sitting there, I've told this on here before, my dad came in, and it was like a Friday evening, and it was like, he was late doing rounds, and he was like, and he would check in on my mom a lot, and he was like, what are you doing? And he like moved heaven and earth to get her into his hospital organization, because he wanted to like be connected to the doctors that were taking care of him, which ultimately really didn't make any bit of difference anyway, but it meant a lot to me that he cared enough to try, and that my stepmom was cool with that, and she totally was, and my stepmom was so supportive through that whole thing. And I remember he came in there, and it was like a Friday night or something, and he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, Aunt Kathy said I need to be here. And I was just like reading a book or just sitting, I don't even know what I was doing. And he was like, there's no reason for you to be here, go home. He was like, she doesn't know that you're here, and if she did know that you were here, she wouldn't want you just sitting in a chair for hours on end on a Friday night. Go home and do something. But you don't know. You know, and there's all these signs that say, I mean, and I do believe that. I do believe that my mom would say, I don't want you sitting here all night long. Go do something. Like, my mom would have said that, you know? I remember telling my dad about wanting to move to, like, the Caribbean at one point, and he said, well, why aren't you? And I said, well, Mom's here, and blah, blah, blah. He goes, if she ever found out that her being here is stopping you from moving, she would be very upset. Because she lived her life and did what she wanted to do. Like, this was before she had passed away. Oh, my battery's about to die. And he said, this was before she passed away, but he was like, she lives her life and does what she wants to do and always has. Like, you shouldn't allow where your mom is at in life stop you from doing something that you want to do. Anyway, you guys, I have rambled on and talked long enough for tonight, and I'm not going to change the battery because I don't feel like it. Sorry, but I love you all, and I think I did actually kind of a long vlog tonight. It's 4:28 now, which I did like an hour and 10 minutes, something like that. So anyway, I will get back on here tomorrow night, and we'll talk a little bit more. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Sundays are my favorite day of the week. I love my Sundays. It's a wonderful way to start the week over, or start the week. So if you haven't checked it out, check out the Magic Book. It's fantastic about gratitude, and check out my Peterisms channel because we're having a lot of fun over there with gratitude. It's great practicing gratitude this month. It's been changing my life. I mean, seriously, profoundly changing my life. Anyway, I will make this super short and just say, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Don't forget you can start your day over whenever you want. Do something today that will make yourself proud when you look back on it. Like I also always say, practice random acts of kindness, but like I also always say, don't tell anyone. Most importantly, let somebody know how much they mean to you. Let somebody know how much they mean to you today. Just call them, text them, or send a postcard, and put some love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, understanding, goodness out there in the world. And like it says in the 4 agreements, always lead with love. If you liked this vlog video, please give it a big thumbs up, and see if you're still subscribed to my channel. If you haven't subscribed already, think about why not subscribing and being part of the OG Wolf Pack, which is all of us over here just trying to get through life one day at a time. And I love you guys so much. I love you, I love you, I love you. And like it says in the 4 agreements, always lead with love. Always think about love being part of everything that you do, and positivity. And I love you guys, and prayers and all of that. And I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.